Pennsylvania Supreme Court is going to hear arguments from the family of Ellen Greenberg, finally. Yes.
Thank you.
Ellen Greenberg, the beloved Philadelphia educator whose death in 2011, more than a decade ago, officially ruled a suicide, despite her being stabbed 20 times, half of which were in the back and the head, and post-mortem. But yeah, suicide, because apparently in Philadelphia, you can do like crazy supernatural shit like stab yourself when you're dead. That's just how it works there in Philadelphia. I don't know how or what or why, but that's fucking magic. Greenberg, 27-year-old teacher at Juniata Park Academy, was found dead in her apartment with over 20 stab wounds. Her parents have long contended that her death was not a suicide and have sought to overturn the official ruling, arguing that the investigation was mishandled. "We don't believe our daughter committed suicide," Ellen's father, Joshua Greenberg, stated in an interview with Joe Holden last year after years and years of legal battles. The case has now reached Pennsylvania's highest court. The Pennsylvania Supreme Court only takes cases which it decides are significant enough from a social standpoint for it to consider. Attorney Joe Podraza said in an interview with WHP-TV, a CBS-affiliated station in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. The case was pending for about 6 or 7 months before the attorneys were notified that it would be taking the case. This is such a crazy case. A neuropathologist hired by the city of Philadelphia testified that Greenberg was likely not alive when at least one of the stab wounds was inflicted. The findings suggest that the wounds were inflicted posthumously. The neuropathologist noted that there was no evidence of hemorrhage in her spinal tissue, which Podraza argues warrants changing the cause of death on Greenberg's death certificate from suicide to homicide or cannot be determined, thus requiring further investigation. Podraza emphasized the broader implications of the case, stating how authorities rule on someone's death has a major impact on the case. You think that there's something going on here, a little something weird? Recently, Jennifer Coffindaffer, who's a contributor to our program and has her own podcast as well, got a chance to sit down with the Greenbergs more recently than we have. And this is some audio. Is corruption in the system? Is this the Greenbergs themselves, or is this the attorney that we're listening to, or is everything the parents or the investigator?
It's the investigator talking.
Okay, so this is the investigator that we've had him on the show as well. Let's take a listen.
When you say corrupt, give me some examples of your concerns that you had right off the bat.
Like I said, I worked the organized crime unit in Philadelphia, and we arrested Mayor Rizzo's son-in-law for distribution of coke, sales of coke. He was the mayor back in the 80s. He ran for governor in the primary. As a matter of fact, we raided his son-in-law and his daughter's home 2 days before the primary when he was running for governor. But this is Philadelphia. This is the way it is. Knowing that, I told them they were going to have to be extremely patient. With that understood, Josh, Ellen's father, he said to me, "Well, what is this going to cost me?" I said, "I don't make money on somebody else's grief. So if you'll cover my expenses, going to and from Philadelphia," I said, I'm not going to charge you for my time.
It's so funny because when I first got involved in this case, just on Twitter, on my social media, because I found the case and I thought it was so egregious and started tweeting about it. And I was contacted by Josh, and Josh asked me what I would want, just like he did you, for positive PR, doing whatever I could on the PR. And I said, I don't want anything. And he was actually really kind. He said, well, let me make a donation to your favorite charity. I never even wanted that. I don't want to be contacted in a case like this and make money off of it.
And that was March of 2013. Her death occurred January 26, 2011. The first thing I did was call the medical examiner's office in Philadelphia, and I asked the director, Dr. Samuel Galino, if I could interview Dr. Osborne, who performed the autopsy. And Dr. Galino refused. He said, "No, you can't interview." I contacted an individual that I knew, Dr. Wayne Ross, who was a neuroforensic pathologist. I contacted him and I asked him to take a look at, the reports. So Dr. Ross did, and he gave me a report that, in his opinion, this was a homicide.
And that was based on his evaluation of the autopsy records that you had?
Yes, the autopsy records and the photographs and the scene photographs. With that, I contacted Dr. Galino again, asking permission to interview Dr. Osborne.
That's from Jennifer Coffindaffer's podcast and YouTube channel, Break the Case with Jen Coffindaffer, FBI. If you're not familiar with the case, I know we just kind of laid out how she died. But to set the setting here a little bit, the official story as it is right now is that her fiance went down to work out in the gym. She was locked inside her apartment. He comes back up, says that the door is locked from the inside with like the chain type thing, like you'd have like in a hotel room or an apartment. And he has to break it open, gets inside, and then finds her dead. And he calls 911 and is talking to the 911 operator. At first, doesn't even realize that she is in fact dead. In fact, I think let's take a listen to the 911 call. I know we've played it back in the past, but I'm just trying to find a raw cut of that 911 call.
And also, let's remember, too, I guess there was a heck of a snowstorm that day as well. So
yeah,
travel was probably not easy, and there probably weren't prowlers and things out in a snowstorm in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Not typical behavior.
Yeah. This here is the 911 call.
I need everything out. I just walked to my apartment. My fiance's on the floor with blood everywhere.
What is the address?
4601 Flat Rock Road. Please come help now.
4601
Flat Rock Road.
Is this a house or apartment?
Oh no! Oh no!
Apartment.
It's an apartment.
What apartment number?
Please, Harry, please.
Where is she bleeding from?
I don't know. I can't tell.
So you have to calm yourself down in order to get you some help.
I'm sorry. I don't know. I'm looking at her right now. I can't see anything. There's nothing broken. She's bleeding. Ellie.
You don't know where she's bleeding from? Can't tell where the blood's coming from?
I think her head. I think she hit her head, I think. But it's everywhere.
Okay,
it's everywhere.
She might have fallen. Do you know what happened?
She may have slipped. There's blood on the table. Her face is a little purple.
Okay, hold on for rescue for her. Stay on the phone.
Fire Department 842. What's the address? No.
4601 Flat Rock Road. Please hurry.
4601 Flat Rock?
Yes.
What's wrong?
I went downstairs to go work out. I came back up. The door was latched. My fiance's inside. She wasn't answering. So after about a half hour, I decided to break it down. I see her now just on the floor with blood. She's not responding.
Okay. Is she breathing? Look at her chest. I need you to calm down, and I need you to look at her chest. It's really.
I really don't think she is.
Listen to me. Someone's on the way. Look at her chest. Is she flat on her back?
She's on her back. So I bring her.
Look at her chest and tell me if it's going up and down, up and down.
I don't see her moving.
Okay. Do you know how to do CPR?
I don't.
Okay. I can tell you what to do. Okay, until they get there. I want you to keep her flat on her.
God.
Hello.
Yeah, hi, okay.
Are you willing to do CPR with me over the phone until they get there?
I have to, right?
Okay, so get her flat on her back, bare her chest, okay? You want to rip her shirt off. Okay? Kneel down by her side.
Oh, my God. Ellie, please.
Listen, you can't freak out, sir, because you
Okay, I'm trying not. Her shirt won't come off. It's a zipper. Oh, my God, she stabbed herself.
Where?
She fell with a knife. Oh, no, her knife's sticking out.
Her what?
There's a knife sticking out of her heart.
Oh, she stabbed herself?
I guess so. I don't know where she fell on it. I don't know.
Okay, well, don't touch it.
Okay, so I just let her here now? I mean, what do I do?
No, I mean, you can't. If the knife is in her chest, it's going to be kind of hard for you to do CPR at this time.
Oh, no. Oh, my goodness. Okay.
Police, which operator? 277.
Is someone
This is a weird call.
Yes, they
It's the
are.
weirdest
It's
fucking call.
4601 Flat Rock, right?
Yes.
Okay, someone's on the way. And the knife is still inside?
Wait, so what?
The knife is still inside of her?
Yes, I didn't take it out.
Was it her chest or what area?
It's in her chest. It looks like it's right in her heart.
Okay, someone's on the way out there. Okay, just get.
Oh my God! Okay,
How old is
thank you.
she?
She's 27.
27. And there's no sign of life at all? Like, been turned to her arm.
No, please don't be. What?
Been turned to her arm and tell me if she responds to pain.
She's Ellie. She's not. Her arm, her hands are still warm. I don't know what that means, but there's blood everywhere. I mean,
I know, but you can't, and the knife is still inside of her. How far? Can you see how far it went in?
it looks pretty deep.
Okay.
It looks it's a long knife.
Don't touch anything.
Yeah, don't touch anything, okay?
I'm not touching anything. I can't believe this, though.
So wait, it was just you there with her?
We're the only ones here.
And she ran in the door, you said latched it shut?
No, I went downstairs to work out, and when I came back up, the door was latched.
He's suddenly very calm
It
now.
wasn't like
He goes back and forth between like hysteric and like, oh, dude, yeah, good, cool.
it was like locked from the inside, and I'm yelling.
He's really making a point of that door being locked from the inside.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm
Was your house
yelling and
broken into?
No.
So there's no sign of a break-in?
No sign of a break-in at all. I mean, there will be when you get here because I had to break the latch, but to get in.
Even though when they looked at the latch, there really wasn't much of a sign of a break-in.
Yeah.
And the damage that it would take a door if you broke that thing open, didn't really have that.
Okay, 4601 Flat Rock, and this is a house, right?
It's an apartment. Apartment.
Okay, that'll help.
Oh my God. All right. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Bye.
Yeah. Now, he's never been charged with anything. He's an innocent man, has moved on with his life. And that's all we really know about that because there was never an investigation done. They had the crime scene cleaned up literally the next day by a high-profile attorney in the city that's a family member. And
like you do.
And a professional cleaning crew went in and did all that. And then the computer digital evidence, all that's gone. And yeah, so there really wasn't a whole lot to investigate should they actually want to investigate. Yeah, it's it's an insane case. Now, I don't know if he did it. I'm not saying he did it by any means. Like I said, innocent man, never been charged with anything. It would be, I think, I don't know, kosher to at least, ask some questions, find out at least what's going on in her life, maybe figure out if there's somebody else that would want to hurt or harm her if it's not you. I don't know. I'm just thinking of what I would do if I was in that situation and I came home and my significant other, I had to break the door down. Somehow when they came, it didn't look like I broke it down, but I said I broke it down. And they're just like, oh, okay, you broke the door down. There's no signs of you breaking the door down, but okay, you can keep saying that and everyone will believe you because we're never going to look into it. And then I find like the woman stabbed 20 times, half of them in the back, like stab wounds you couldn't give yourself, and post-mortem. I think I might be on a mission to have that autopsy result changed, and I'd be out there fighting to find her killer for the rest of my life.
You'd think.
I don't think I just kind of move on and be like, well, this shit happens. I don't know. That's just me. This is another piece of audio from Jennifer Coffindaffer's interview with the family. This is from Break the Case with Jen Coffindaffer, which you can get anywhere you get podcasts or check out her YouTube channel because they have videos and all this as well.
Since there was no medical reason for you to change your opinion, why did you change your medical opinion from homicide to suicide?
And just for everybody to understand, initially, Dr. Osborne said, listen, this is a homicide. And then later, after a closed-door meeting, that changed. So go ahead.
Dr. Osborne said, well, the police told me that there wasn't anybody in the apartment, that no one could get into the apartment, et cetera, et cetera. So therefore, he said, I changed it at the insistence of the police from homicide to suicide.
And did we look at this at all other than hearing the boyfriend or the fiance say, yeah, the door was locked. Okay, you say so. That's because that's how all investigations go. Well, if he says it's that must be that, right? That's just totally how that all works.
Of course.
In Philadelphia, unfortunately, the answer to that question is yes. But it's also the place where you can stab yourself post-mortem. It's a magical place. You're really going to check it out. Here's more. Supposedly.
Oh, come on.
Try this one.
Come on, technology.
No, there's nothing.
You got it.
There's nothing on this piece of audio.
Oh.
About why the findings were changed. There's the other part to this that we should also recognize. There were two different knives. Because
right. Because you're going to switch knives, while you're trying to kill yourself. You're like, you know what? I'm not sure that serrated knife is working well. I'm going to switch to a different kind.
When you're trying to stab yourself 20 times in the front and the back and in the head and in the spine, in behind closed doors, and you're going to
I had befriended an individual, Guy DeAndrea, who...
Wait a second. Where did this come out of?
I don't know. Something decided to start playing.
Yeah. Where did that come from?
Technology is lovely.
I don't know where the hell that came from.
The case. Guy DeAndrea said that he found the case in a closet covered with some Christmas decorations, and it didn't have a file number on it. So he said he spent the next 2 days just organizing the file. And he said one of the things that he noticed was missing was in the autopsy report, there's a paragraph which states that the spinal cord specimen was examined by Dr. Lucy Rourke Adams. She said in that paragraph, the wound to that spinal cord was not significant enough, and the victim could have continued to harm herself. That's another reason that Dr. Osborne says he altered his findings.
So that's, I guess, the reason why the doctor said, yeah, I'm going to change this.
That's fun.
Because everybody stabs themselves in the back and the head in angles that you otherwise really couldn't.
Well, and don't forget, once you're dead, make sure you do it a couple more times just to make sure that you stay dead.
It's like the real
That's
walking.
important.
It's like the real Walking Dead there, where you can literally come back from the grave and do that. Let's hear some of the testimony, or some of the not testimony, but some of the talking about the types of knives that were used.
And a serrated knife was found. How many serrated knife wounds were there?
I believe in the autopsy report there were either 5 or 6 of the wounds were serrated. The smooth-bladed knife wounds are the one to the side of the scalp, which is very significant. That wound there is 6.5 centimeters and goes down to the scalp. If you take a look at that, that's where a majority of the blood at the scene came from. To me, that wound is an indication of fight or flight. Ellen was either fighting or struggling, trying to get away when that wound took place. When we deposed the medical examiners, Dr. Emery from the Philadelphia Medical Examiner's Office, she was a neuroforensic pathologist that was hired. Dr. Golino, at our insistence, had her re-examine the tissue samples that they had of the wounds. This is probably 10 years after the victim was killed. She examines those tissue samples and she says that one wound definitely lacked hemorrhage. What does that mean? Well, if it lacked hemorrhage, then it lacked pulse. If it lacked pulse, what does that mean? Well, it means the victim was dead. What we're saying is a number of the wounds are post-mortem, which means Ellen was stabbed after she died. How could she administer wounds to herself when she's dead?
That's exactly right. But again, how could a person stab themselves 20 times and decide to change knives in the middle of the suicide?
Exactly. Another point that I was talking to Coffin Daffer about this morning on an episode that'll be airing next week on the show, is this, we're just looking at common sense here on how this works. It's very, very rare, number one, for someone to stab themselves to death. But number two, to do it 20 times and postmortem. But in the face and to disfigure yourself for women to do that, especially someone that did seem to be very, very involved with their appearance. From what we understand, Ellen was someone who had, put makeup on to go get the mail, basically. Not saying anything wrong with that whatsoever.
Oh, I'm the same. Yeah, I'm the same.
Yeah, I'm just saying this is the type of person that was. She liked her appearance, and she was a very attractive woman. So if you're going to kill yourself, it goes against most logic that you're going to deface yourself with a knife. Plus, who the fuck ever stabs themselves in the head with a knife?
Well, and that's the thing, too. When you think about suicide, you're dealing with people who are in a lot of pain mentally. They want the pain to be over. They are not going to inflict physical pain. There might be some justification to say slitting your wrist. And I'm sorry if this is a little bit graphic and horrible to think about, but slitting your wrist, only certain kinds of people will do it that way. There are other ways to do it. There's chemical with drugs. There's gunshot, which is quick. But using a knife is a very deliberate, intentional, and painful way to do it. And you don't hear of it very often. There are other easier, faster ways to do it. This is nothing about this case says this woman killed herself. The place of these incisions would be so vastly different. They would be on arteries, not on her back and her neck and the back of her head. Those are not effective places. Those are places you are going to try to kill somebody with, but not yourself.
And there had been talk that she was in an unhappy place.
Correct.
That things weren't going the greatest. Her engagement ring was found on the counter. She was not wearing it at the time. So there's a lot of questions there. Like, was there an argument? Would something happen? I don't know. And we just, and again, the knives weren't checked, weren't tested for anything. For DNA. I mean, the thing is, all the fucking evidence is gone. So I don't even know where you go with this at this point, because there isn't much evidence. You only have the only person who was there is him. And I mean, he's never been charged. We've never really talked about it. So what are you going to get there? Then you just kind of have he said, she said, and she can't talk. So I don't know. Whoever did this likely got away with murder.
I do think there is an incredible piece of evidence that was really scrutinized, and that was her body. They've got pictures, they've got descriptions. And once somebody with a fucking brain looks at this and isn't tarnished by corruption and says, there's no fucking way this woman killed herself.
Oh, yeah.
And they can deem this a homicide, we're getting that much closer to maybe we can figure it out. And since he was the only one there, it might be worth investigating him.
I would think that'd be the first person you would look at. And I'm not saying he did it. All I'm saying is, in any case, that's the first person you're going to talk to. Get a baseline as to what the hell's going on here and what's going on in life and all that. And if you have absolutely nothing to hide, you'd be fucking singing like a bird to get any piece of information out there you can so they can figure out who the fuck did this.
Yep.
And I don't know. I mean, the only options I see otherwise is if you did it, or if you're really, kind of paranoid that, I didn't do this, but it certainly looks like I could have. So I'm just going to go along and not rock the fucking boat and let this shitty investigation do what it's going to do, because I don't want the finger pointed at me from a very selfish standpoint. But I could see that too, because if it does look like it's you and it's not you, you wouldn't want to be fucking rocking the boat. So I don't know. I do not know. Again, not saying he did it. I do not know. But the fact that there's never been an investigation into this case is baffling. And there's so many bad acts involved, especially with the crime scene, the cleanup of the crime scene, the lack of investigation into any of this, and anybody raising their hand going, we should look at this further, just being shut down from the inside of the system that seems to be protecting itself. So
that's okay. This is a huge tragedy in itself, what this family has dealt with. But there's a second tragedy as well. The fact that their justice system, their legal system is so corrupt that it took it this long to be investigated. This never should have happened. Yeah. And whoever was in charge of this, these people need to be brought up on some sort of investigation. Like, what happened here?
They won't be. They've all moved on to other things.
Know that this was not a suicide. There's no fucking way.
No, it wasn't a suicide. Just no way it was. I mean, it's just be stupid to accept it as that.
Now, if the Pennsylvania Supreme Court goes, oh, no, there's nothing wrong here, well, then the corruption is even bigger than we thought.
Yeah. Well, and here's the deal. What this case does with the Supreme Court, whatever the hell they decide, does not mean this is going to be immediately investigated, as they're not changing the ruling here. It's not going to be changed within the Supreme Court to homicide or cause unknown. All this is going to do with the Supreme Court, they're going to determine if a family member other than a spouse can challenge that ruling in a lower court, because the lower court ruled that the parents couldn't challenge that ruling and threw it out. That's why it's at the Supreme Court. So if the Supreme Court says, you're the parents, you can certainly challenge this, it goes back to the lower court. And the lower court would then have to hear it. But again, you're back in kind of that ecosystem of corruption, and I don't know. I kind of feel like it could just go, oh, yeah, we'll hear your case. La, 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 la. Are you saying something? We believe, la, 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 la. Okay, we heard your case. We don't agree, bye. So I hope it doesn't go that way. This deserves an investigation of some sort.
We need some eyes on this other than the people who came up with this determination that this was a suicide. Some cooler heads, people who are not being, having their pockets lined in any way. I'm not saying I know anything, because I don't, but this just reeks worse than 2-week-old fish. This is sick.
It seems like it's covering for money and power of some sort. Where that money and power is and what it's covering for, I do not know the answer to that, and I'm not accusing it of being any specific person. But it seems like it's covering for money and power.
Want to listen ad-free? Want advanced access to all of our interviews before anyone else?
Become a True Crime Today Premium Plus subscriber on Apple Podcasts.
You get every episode commercial-free.
So you can binge on true crime
until you can binge no more.
Search True Crime Today Premium Plus on Apple Podcasts now, or go to our podcast page and sign up now.
More of the Hidden Killers podcast next.